Well, New York Times bestselling author of Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy, and senior editor at the Post Millennial, Andy Ngo is joining us now to discuss all of this stuff that we're seeing on the streets. Andy, chaos erupting in other cities, including Chicago and New York. In the Big Apple, someone threw a smoke bomb at a police officer. You can see it in the video on your screen there. And check out footage from the windy city of Chicago, where a driver plowed through a crowd of protesters. Is the wave of anarchy a coordinated effort, do you think? And do you think the public is starting to lose patience with all of this?
It's coordinated in the sense of like how it was done in 2020. You have these militant left activist groups who blast out these listserv emails in different cities to tell people to go out on the streets. You have propaganda that's posted day in and day out on platforms now like Blue Sky and Reddit, which are inciting violence against federal officials and agents. And the violence 5 years ago was very successful. You know, we saw for months neighborhoods and police stations and federal and city property that was besieged, destroyed, stores looted, and in the end, very few people were held accountable. The majority had their cases dropped, and many of the riot arrestees ended up suing the cities and getting massive settlement payouts, which are still happening today in the tens of millions. So that playbook is being used again, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, Andy, I think that's the biggest issue here, because crime without punishment leads to more crime, in my opinion, and I think you might agree with that. And as the federal charges that John Mahoney was talking about, that's great, because those will be enforced. But local charges, state charges, I mean, if you're in California, you're probably getting a slap on the wrist, and it's not going to solve the problems that we're seeing on the streets. Meanwhile, down in Texas, the Republican Governor Greg Abbott has also deployed state National Guard troops, in this case to San Antonio, in anticipation of ICE protests there. I guess he got word that there might be those. So it looks like maybe the Lone Star State is learning from LA's failures. Does that make a difference, getting the Guard in place in advance?
It makes a big difference. I mean, we're on our fifth day of the insurrection in Los Angeles, and the first 3 days were exceptionally violent, and this was long before any federalized National Guard were deployed on the streets, by the way. I think this violence has a chance to spiral out of control, because sort of many of the variables are coming into place right now. The fundraising is happening online. Riot gear was being dispersed in Los Angeles. That type of model is going to be used in these different cities. And it's going to be up to local jurisdictions to take control of the violence that's happening on their property. Federal officers can really, with the limited resources they have, only protect federal buildings. And that's what they're doing in LA quite successfully.
Yeah, and we mentioned a deported illegal immigrant from Mexico who was back in L.A. and is now accused of throwing a Molotov cocktail at law enforcement. He has been charged with attempted murder. Do you think getting tough with rioters will have any impact on future protests?
Well, the Justice Department in Trump 2.0 seems much more. They recognize what they're dealing with. In 2020, the DOJ then chose to give sweetheart plea deals, or to drop a lot of the cases in cities like Portland, where Antifa insurrectionists were committing federal crimes. We have to wait and see if the current DOJ can see things through to the end. But the majority of the arrests that have been happening in LA are being arrests within LA County jurisdiction. So we're probably going to see most of those cases dismissed, or get some type of resolution where the rioters will feel empowered to go out again on the streets, either within a few days now or in a few months.
Yeah. You got to make them uncomfortable, and you got to punish people for breaking the law. Appreciate you joining us, Andy. Good to see you.
My pleasure.